We're living the dream. Let's fix those fantasy teams. All right, guys. Welcome back, guys. Rate my team for round 15. And the core theme for today is going to be filling out that starting 13 spots. And then having a think about some extra trades as well. So potentially some luxury trades here too. But for most teams, we'll have a look at it. Like if you can fill out your starting 13, you got a reasonably good starting 13. You probably don't have to make too many moves. So should be pretty sweet. A few of you guys sent your team before. I said now, that's fine. Everything from 6 p.m. there gets in. So you'll be all good. So let's jump to 6 p.m. Benny, you're up first here. Thinking of trading Tarpanay for Preston. Actually, before we get into that, I'll just quickly hit the chat as well. So who have we got in the house here? Ulu needs help. Mid-edge spot empty. Look, heaps of options there. We go through that in depth. Buy, hold, sell. So guys, buy, hold, sell does go position by position. Very, very good video there. Kalomatangi, Aitken, Couchman, these types of players are all great options to bring in. Joe Longy, John, how you doing, mate? Frost King coming through. How you going, bro? Ball bag. Longy got 1,100 points, moved up 27 ranks because of me. Mate, all because of you. All because of you. You're the one making your calls, right? I just share some information, right? So I'm just sharing my thoughts on these guys. But at the end of the day, you're making your calls, Ollie. So well done to you, man. Then Jake, let's go. Locked up, playing Aitken or KPP. I think they're both guys you want to start. I would start both of them over basically anyone else. I think they're really good options there. So try to start both of them if you can. Only before you start, can you quickly review my trades? Hosking to Aitken, Fogarty to Drinkwater. Yeah, they're good trades, man. They're good trades. Decent upgrade there. Stream on for everyone else. Yes, it is now. I'm winning my league because my yeah, defense, man. You're rolling. You're rolling. You got Nightman here too. Noz, how's it going, man? How's my day been? Pretty chill. Pretty chill. I was up pretty late last night. I'm actually working on a few things. So I'm doing some learning in the background on some more visual effects and that kind of thing. So doing some upgrades to our shows, which you guys will see soon. But I was up to like 4 a.m. last night, just working on different things. So yeah, I'm a little sleepy this morning. I'm good now. We got a big night ahead of us. And 732, great rank there as well. And traded Jenkins, mate. It's a rough go. Let's tear into these teams here, though. Also, Dinah knocking it off for top 10, mate. Bravo. That's a great spot to be. You got a great chance to have a shot here. And I'll just have to show this one. Terrence, let me guess. You're keeping Munster. I am thinking about it this week. I've still got Munster on my side. I like the Cowboys matchup. Look, he came out and ran 180 meters last week. That was awesome. No attacking stats, but Munster might end up being a season keeper at this rate. So we can't. I can't make any promises. Yeah, let's see Benny's team here first. So thinking of trading Tarpanay for Preston, Couchman to prop, Preston the edge. Tarpanay to Preston is reasonable. It's reasonable. I'm not the biggest fan of selling Tarpanay myself, but if it's the only move you can make, then it's okay. Sandon Smith's another option to sell as well. If I was you, I'd look at it like this. So either you can choose between either having Tarpanay and maybe Talis Duncan, or Sandon Smith and Preston. I'd rather have Tarpanay and Talis Duncan myself. So if I was you, I would keep Tarpanay. I think he's going to be effective through the rest of the origin period. And I would sell Sandon Smith for Talis Duncan. Make that swap there instead. That's what I'd do. But if you really want to get Preston, this is not a bad way to do it. Just personally, I would be going the Sandon Smith to Talis Duncan route myself. So that's my one pivot for you. But other than that, you're in a good spot, man. 13 players. It's a good starting side, so you should be sweet. Then Dayman, hey Longy, hope you're well, mate. Mainly playing head-to-head, so trading lightly. Yeah, I think you really want to, if you're head-to-head, you really want to focus on head-to-head. Overall is just a byproduct of that, but you got to focus on your head-to-head league. Got a few options. Love me to look at. All right, let's see them. Don't need Tarpanay for my plan going forward. Everyone wants to sell Tarpanay. A couple of bad weeks. I reckon he's a guy you want to keep myself, but you want to get JC this week. I think he could drop some cash. Better to get Teddy than hopefully have someone for JC Hughes next week. We'll skip Teddy. So you got Tarpanay and Yongi there. Okay, so I mean, you need Tapane to an extent. Like, all right, Yongi and Jenkins out for Pacific Tonga and Tedesco. Not a bad pair of trades. Jenkins is making some cash. Tapane and Valmunga out for Tedesco and Pacific Tonga. I don't like that as much. Or Tapane and Yongi out for, yeah, okay. Or, Tapane, Yongi, Jenkins out for Teddy, Pacific Tonga, and Campbell. So if you bring those guys in, let's say Teddy and Campbell, how does that work for your team? Because I don't think it gives you a full side this week. I'm probably leaning more towards, I mean, this Yongi and Jenkins for Teddy and Pacific Tonga. I think that's a banger. As much as Jenkins is going to make a bit more cash, that's probably where I'm leaning for you. We could also go. Who else have you got you could sell? Really, there aren't too many other guys to sell here. So I'm probably leaning in that direction. I think this first trade, the Yongi and Jenkins trade, as much as Jenkins will make a bit more cash, like he's going to make a bit more cash. I think it's okay for you to let that one slide. So yeah, it gets you to Tedesco. It lets you keep Tarpanay, who is a guy who you're happy to have in your 17 most weeks. And Jenkins and Yongi, they're not guys you're trusting week to week anyway. So that's the move I'd make. Run the double trade there. I think you'd be sweet. You don't necessarily have to trade either. So if you're head to head and you have a buy this week, you could also just hold off this round as well. But I think that's a fair trade to make those two. All right, Cade, hey Longy, been stuck all week with my trades and deciding whether I get an edge or a winger and not play Lawson. Do a double trade, making me only have 9 trades left, or do I play Lawson and buy a winger? Got no clue who to buy. Either Campbell, okay, so Campbell versus Tedesco versus Drinkwater, and edges, whatever I Preston back, or cheaper like Aitken. I'm probably preferring Aitken just on value there. So, all right, you've got a few guys you want to target. Let's see who we can sell. So you're probably going to be selling Tamale, I would say, is a pretty safe bet. Then, I mean, you don't really need the forwards necessarily. You've got a pretty strong forward pack there. Just means that you're playing Lawson, which isn't the worst thing in the world. I'd probably target just really trying to get to a good wing fullback this week. So for you, with 184K in the bank, you could keep it really simple. Keep it really simple and just go, Tamale to Drinkwater, for example. Do you have Drinkwater yet? No, you don't. So maybe Tamale straight to Drinkwater. I think that could be a good option. Drinkwater is the benefit of him is you can afford to go straight to him. So Tamale to Drinkwater is one option there. If you wanted to free up more cash and go to Campbell or Tedesco, you'd need to go like Tamale and Hosking out for one of those guys and, Talis Duncan or something like that. But I don't think you need to this week. So I would keep it simple. Personally, if I was you, I'm probably going Tamale to Drinkwater. Keep those trades. You got 11 trades. It'll be 10 trades left. But for your side, you've got Owen Paddy and Brock Gray. So you've got a couple of dead spots there. And then Nathan Lawson's a bit unreliable as well. So you're in a position with your side where you probably need a few more trades than most coaches do because you have so little depth, right? You've got all those guys who are non-factors. You've got a great starting team, but you just need to carry a few trades. So from my perspective, Tamale to Drinkwater, easy trade. Smash that one, hit that, and you'll be sweet. Yeah, so run that trade. If you're concerned at all, you can run a loophole potentially as well, but it'll be a bit tricky to do because you don't have a lot of backs on your bench there that aren't playing. So Tamale to Drinkwater, smash that. You'd be sweet, man. Then save a few trades. Now, Phil Eel, my friend from Parramatta. Phil and I actually met at an Eels event the other day. So good to meet you in person, man. A fellow dedicated diehard Eels fan. Now, let's see what we've got here. So for you, great to meet you at the great man in person last week. Thanks for fixing my issues on Discord, mate. No worries. I'm here for tech support. Anyway, to my team this week, 1,027 last round. Slight drop in the rankings to 556. Need 2 more players for around 13 players. Okay, so 2 middle or 2 edge or 1 of each. Aitken is a good option. I agree. O'Donnell is interesting. Okay, let's have a look at these trades. So if you go Tamale and Purdue to Aitken and O'Donnell, You've got Kolomatangi, you've got Couchman. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I mean, the other option you have here is because you've got Savala here, right? So you don't necessarily need to buy. I mean, it depends on the cash you have. Like, do you have the cash? Oh, let's see, actually. Oh, you wouldn't quite have enough money for it. I was going to say, if you had the cash to go, Tamale straight to Aitken, that would be pretty sweet. But yeah, you're a bit short of that. So, I mean, one thing you can do here, though, is you could run Campbell in that starting, wing fullback spot there and move Garrick into center and move Lucas up to the edge back row. And you wouldn't need to get O'Donnell. But O'Donnell's a decent cash out as well. So I don't hate that completely. Saying that Purdue is a reasonable option to keep as well. What do we want to do here? You're in a tricky situation because you don't have that many guys that are super sellable. Yeah, Ewan Aitken is so primed though. He's in such a good position to buy. What if because you don't need Kai O'Donnell, right? So what if you, instead of buying Kai O'Donnell, what if you went in a different direction, got a better cash out? So I'm of the view that Kai O'Donnell might be a bit of a dead spot in your team. I personally would be looking to go like a Latu Fainu or someone who has a bit of a future in their position. Whereas Kai O'Donnell, he's going to play 2 games, but he's really not going to be that effective for you. If you got Latu Fainu, right, he doesn't play this week, or someone like that, then what you could do is you could bring, Campbell or Marzu into that starting side, Garrick up to center, Lucas up to the edge back row spot, so you wouldn't have to get Kai O'Donnell for that spot there. And then the half, you're running a loophole there with Savala and Campbell there as well, so it might be Marzu that goes to wing fullback. You've got an easy loophole there. That's what I'd do. I'd keep it really simple, and just focus on the better cash out. So I would replace Kai O'Donnell with Latu Fainu if I was you, and build for the future, because Latu looked good in that last game. Admittedly, he played in the middle, but Heath Mason, he's a good player. I like Heath Mason, but he's not a half, right? He's a fullback through and through. So I think they're going to bring Latu Fainu in next game, and I think he's going to be very effective. So that's where I'd go with this. I would go Latu instead of Kai O'Donnell, and I'd focus on the future. I think O'Donnell is a limited scorer, so you're not going to get much out of him compared to the guys on your bench are much better scorers anyway. So that's the pivot I'd make for you. Then Sammy Sony in a great rank, 42 here. Kolomatangi is captain. That's pretty much the default captain, guys. That's who we're captaining, most of us. If you are captaining anyone other than Kolomatangi, by the way, let me know in the comments. I'm keen to hear from anyone who is going in a different direction. But for Sammy Sony here, with such a good rank, you have 2 approaches you can take, right? So you're sitting in 42. You're either a sensible, well-balanced individual and you just keep playing fantasy and try to finish in a good rank there and go for the win, but don't be too upset if you come 10th or 50th or whatever it is there. Or you go kind of nuclear and you go for that number 1 spot. Now, let me just quickly check here because I can actually see the difference between. So you're 42nd. I can see the gap between you and first. Let me just find that. So first place, Arasta Thames, absolute legend, friend of the channel, my homeboy, 13,546 points. And then for you, Sammy Sony, 42, you're at 13,329. So, okay, it's not a big gap. It's about 217 points. So for a 217 point gap, you can just keep playing fantasy, I think. You don't have to go do anything too crazy. So for you then, where are you going with these trades? So keen to try and get Teddy in because I don't think Lawson will go well this week. Also need a wing fullback for next week. Is there anyone else should get in? Let me just check that as well because from memory, Lawson plays very early in the round. So I think Lawson, Lawson plays that first game of the round. So you can actually run a bit of a loophole here. Put Lawson on your bench and just see what happens. And if Lawson goes poorly, then you're going to have the chance. Yeah, because you don't have any dragons or sharks in those positions. So yeah, run Lawson on your bench there. See how he scores, and then you can make the call after that. If Lawson goes poorly, then we got to think about a trade here because we're bringing someone into the back line. So you're trying to get Teddy. Right. I guess I'm looking for holes, right? So the forward pack is really strong. The halves pairing, I'll wait to see who you got on the bench there. Need that center spot filled. The wing fullback is really good as well. You got King Tongia and Savala. Loophole, I think that is sufficient in the half spot this week. There's some good options next week, so I'd be happy with that. And then Lawson looping into the center spot. If Lawson were to disappear from equations and just not score well, the question becomes Tamale to who? How much cash do you have? Are you on the chat, Sammy Sony? If you're here, let me know how much cash you have in the bank, because that does impact sort of what we do here. You could do, oh, look, okay, I'll tell you what I'd do. I'll tell you what while I wait for that cash amount, I'll tell you what I'd do. I would very, very strongly consider going Ruben Garrick out. Not sorry, Ruben Garrick out. Ruben Garrick up to center and buying someone who's a bit outside the box. So, like, obviously, we talked about Gagai as a pod the other day. I think that's a bit too insane. But going to Turbo for 400K up against the Titans, real pod this week. Most people aren't going to buy him this week. If you don't have cash, I would be looking to go to Turbo. If you have the money, though, and you can go straight to, Drinkwater or Tedesco, one of those guys, I would go to them instead, right? So if you got the money, go to the big dogs. But if you don't have money and you just want to use one trade this week and keep it simple, I'm actually into the idea of going straight to Turbo here. So look, that's your call there. You're gonna have to make a call between those two. But Tamale to Turbo is hot if you don't have money. Tamale to Tedesco, as you mentioned in that chat, is the better option this week, and they have a great matchup. So Teddy's a much safer option here. Teddy also upgrades your final squad, and then you run that half loophole, but you can still see how Lawson scores as well. So you can see King Tonga and Lawson scores before you make this call. So you're in a great position here. Just keep in mind that Hines, Fenor Blake, and Couchman, as well as Kalamatangi, because he's captain, they're going to be locked as well. So any time you're thinking about sort of flicking things around, it'd be easy. Then a few guys asking about how to jump in. I'll just quickly put that in, Jake. I saw you asked that there too. So it's just wap.com/the casual athlete. You can jump in for a free trial. I think it's 10 days as well for cheapie or mid-ranger tier. So feel free to jump into that if you guys do want to try this out and get your team reviewed. A lot of them get onto the video, but then the rest get written reviews later too. Now, Boltsy, hey Longy, thinking about these trades this week, which sets me up for round 18 nicely as well. We'll look to pick up Turbo in the coming rounds, but that's about it. Turbo. There's the Turbo Express. Look, if you're buying Turbo, I would do it this week. Up against the Titans. It's a good matchup. Turbo is insanely risky, by the way, guys. Like the thing I'm sort of sharing with Turbo more is like he's 400K. So he's very, very, very cheap. But he has the potential to go massive. He also has the potential to get injured or, miss a bunch of games randomly like he has the last fortnight or go off at halftime. Like there is plenty of risk in Turbo. But I got on Turbo just as a real wild card option. If you are wanting to, take a bit of a speculator, you can take a shot at that. So you've got Hosking, Cleary, and Ponga out for Couchman, Campbell, Drinkwater. I was not a fan of those sells. I like the guys you're bringing in. I'm a bit worried about you with 4 trades left, to be honest, though. So 4 trades left. Is this the team before? This is after trades. Okay. So after trades, you're going to have a full starting team except for that middle forward spot. And you got Pacific Tonga and Hubner in the loophole. Okay. Yeah, sweet. No, I'm into that. That's pretty sweet. A lot of keepers on the bench, some cheapies there as well. Burbo floating around. Yeah. I guess I'd just be thinking about, with so few trades, do you want to sell Cleary? Like you totally can. You totally can sell Cleary. I think for your team, it does improve your side. It's gonna be tough for you to get Cleary back. That's the big question, right? So when you get to that stage where you want to get Cleary back, you're going to be in trouble. But I'm okay with this. Like these trades, Campbell, Couchman, Drinkwater, they're all guys that you can keep for the rest of the year. So I'm going to say yes, but a bit reluctantly and very cautiously because that number up there, 4 trades left. That's also the resolution was pretty good on that Zoom, eh? But that number there is scary, man. That's a scary number. So really, from this point forward, you are only trading based on injuries, right? So you're set up for round 18. You only respond to injuries from now on. That's pretty much where you're at. I do worry a bit too for you. Pacific Tonga, Hubner, Savala, King Tonga, and Paddy. So 5 guys there that aren't quite guys who should be in your 17 week to week. You're only running loopholes, so you should be okay, but it just puts you a little bit in a dicey position. So yeah, run that trade, but you do have other options here as well. Like you could potentially, if you didn't get rid of Cleary, for example, you could probably still run a trade similar to this, but you'd be getting like, Turbo and Couchman, or you'd be getting Duncan and Drinkwater, those types of combinations instead. I think this improves your scoring quite a bit though. So I'm going to say yes to this, but man, it's risky. So, if you come back with alternatives, just jump into the channel. I'm just floating over it there. Level 1, Cheapy Trade Chat. If you just jump in there and if you have different ideas, feel free to fire them through. Also, everyone who's part of this, share your feedback. A bunch of you guys already do. But if you see someone else asking questions and you know the answer, fire it in, man. Like answer those questions. Like teaching other people makes you better at the game too. I'm waiting for it to click for me, but it definitely improves your understanding of the game. So, Mitch, want to know your thoughts? We'll roll back the Birdo to Duncan trade is low if Loco scores well, 35 plus. Okay. So, Birdo to Duncan, if Loco Pacific Tonga doesn't score well, I think Loco might be in for a bit of minute squeeze this week, but he's just such a weapon. So, we'll see what happens. So, we've got Ponga and Iro, good sells. For Aiken and Turbo, I'm a fan of that double. And then Burton to Duncan. Yeah, if you want, you could afford to go Drinkwater over Turbo if you wanted to. If you want to be a bit safer, but you've already got Drinkwater in your team. Yeah, I think it's a good move. I'm a fan of the Turbo buy. I think it's risky, but he's 400k. So worst case scenario, he's a bit dodgy. He sits on the end of our benches. He was 400k. We don't stress about it too much. The upside there is, that he gets hot. And, you look at the stats from the back end of last year even. He gets hot at the right time. So with your side here, reverse that trade if you need to. You could sell like Hosking, Fogarty, these types of players. You don't have to. Ponga and Ero are better sells. Burton, if he misses 3 of the next 4, is definitely a viable sell as well. So I'm going to say yes. These trades are good. You've got probably 6 trades remaining if you make that last trade as well. So again, it puts you in a bit of a dicey position. I would say you can make 1 trade next week because you'll have a bit of cash in the bank. And then after that, you need to just use trades for injuries and really, really play it safe. Also, just do a quick counter because you're ranked 68 here, which is a great spot to be. But for round 18, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, cool. So you're sweet for round 18 as well. Like you got 15 players. I haven't checked all the positions, but look, I'm sure you're doing the numbers there. So I'm okay with that. If you're burning low on trades, you got to be like set. You got to be super set with your team. And before I go into Noz's team, because I know he's going to be keen, can Savala be sold? Questions here. Savala be sold? I'd prefer not to, but he's not quite a keeper. He's a cash cow. He's made some money. If you want to sell him, you can. I wouldn't be desperate to do it though, but you can if you want to. And DV's mentioned, selling him base stats. Now he's a 6. He won't get as many kick meters. That's one assumption there. There's a chance that he keeps a bunch of kick meters as well. It really depends on the role that Sam Walker comes in and plays. I personally think it's worth holding on to him just in case, because there's a potential world where Savala goal kicks for the Roosters here. So, it could be even better. Like Sam Walker might just play a pure 6 role instead. Like we don't know what's going to happen there. So my view on this is if you can hold Savala this week and just see what happens. But look, DV has raised probably one of the more likely outcomes that could happen here. So, good insight, DV. Then Mason, what's up, Longy, the GOAT? Thoughts on Haas, Hosking, Paddy to Preston, Couchman, Tedesco. Haas, Hosking, and Paddy to Preston, Couchman, Tedesco is a great 3 trades. So I'm not normally a fan of selling Haas, but for you managed to turn 2 keepers and a dead spot into 3 keepers with this trade. So for you, I think it makes sense. Like this triple makes sense. I'm going to say yes to that one. But for most teams, I'm seeing a lot of teams selling Haas and keeping 300k in the bank. If you're doing that, don't sell Haas. There's no point. Only do it if you're using the cash like Mason has. Ollie, who's more of a sell, Hubner or Jenkins? Hubner or Jenkins? I mean, Hubner plays this week, so probably Jenkins, I would say. But Jenkins is going to make cash. But I would keep Hubner just because he's that mid cover. Am I done for dropping Firma for Herbie just because I like his potential more? I think Herbie will outscore Bo this week, but I would keep Bo myself. I think it's too sideways. Aitken or Cook already have Couch, Colo, Lucas, Duncan, Edge, Clark, and Jazz at hooker. I would definitely go Aitken over Cook, like by a long margin, by a big margin. Jack asks, can I do a center loophole using Toya in my starting? Got Lawson and Garrick looped. Don't want to get stitched up and not be able to put Garrick in after lockout. No, that's fine. So when the Roosters play, Toya will lock out, but Lawson plays the first game of the round, so you should be absolutely fine there. Is JK a good option? Very, very risky. Very risky coming back from multiple injuries. So I'm going to say no. Go early on Luai. Need to make 2 trades to get a wing fullback for Tamale. I think Luai is a great option for next week. So if you want to buy him now, feel free to do it. Thoughts on... So the other thing that could burn you here is if there's an injury to, I guess, Burton's 18th man, right? But if there was an injury to one of the halves for the Blues, Luai is probably the next man up, right? As much as Burton's 18th man, I think Luai is the next serious starting half. I think he's well ahead of Burton in the Blues rankings. So that could hurt you. That's why I'm waiting till next week, but I don't mind the move. Thoughts on selling Cleary and Tarpanay? I wouldn't sell both. You could sell one. I wouldn't sell both. Is Duncan worth buying to play instead of Hubner? I don't think that's enough of an upgrade to justify it, so I'm going to say no to that one. Walker will kick less for a while, in my opinion. Yeah. So Sam Walker at the Roosters, I agree. I think he plays a bit more 6. He played a half footy on the weekend, so I think he'll take it easy. I have Cleary, Katoa, Hughes, Fino, Sharp, and Campbell, so probably we'll just sell. Fair play. With all those halves, you can move a half on. I've just got 2 trade options, JC or Teddy. And Turbo or Aitken and Turbo. Okay, so JC and Teddy. So JC or Teddy with Turbo or Aitken with Turbo. Turbo's a non-negotiable. Okay. In that case, it really depends on your side. I think Aitken is rock solid, so that's where I'm leaning myself. If I was just looking at pure scorers there. Selling Cleary, Tamale, Tarpanay for Teddy, Couchman, Aitken. Yeah, okay. I'm not normally for, because you're selling a few guys that are keepers there. You're getting some good guys in. So you can do, if it works for your team, you can do this. I would personally try and play around and look for other trades there. Longy, what would your fantasy points look like? PPM when I played. A lot of offloads, tackle breaks. Scored quite a few tries, but defensive work rate wasn't great. A few missed tackles in there as well. I will shout out. So bit of rocks and diamonds for me. I would have been one of those back rowers who, had a big day. The 80-point game every now and then, but then also maybe like that Jeremiah Nanai stat line without the Jeremiah Nanai talent. That kind of line there. All right, let's keep going through these teams. So NRL Nos, should I just not trade? Do have 11, so not short on them or anything. 11 trades, okay. I was going to buy Turbo and loop him with AJ. They play the same time. So who could I loop instead with Turbo? So for you, I mean, you can... Yeah, okay, so Brimson's in there. Puts you in a bit of a tricky spot, doesn't it? I mean, you don't have to trade, but you've got Tamale sitting there, who's very, very tradable. You could run a loophole. So if you buy Turbo for Tamale, when does Turbo play? Let me just double check this to get this right, because I know the Dragons were in that first game there. So Titans Seagulls are second on Friday. Okay, so your Titans players will lock out straight away. But hypothetically, if you ran a Turbo loophole, what you could do is you could have King Tongia, move him up your bench a bit, by the way. It's like, let's say, emergency 5. And he's your first loophole. If King Tongia goes poorly in that first game, you could run a second loophole and have Turbo in interchange 4. Now, hypothetically in this scenario, if you had Turbo sitting in interchange 4 and he went well, what you could do is move Sharp into the starting half spot there and move Ponga into the starting wing fullback spot. And then Turbo would be looping in and Savala's score wouldn't count. So that's one option you could run there, a turbo loop with Savala. So I know you know what you're doing there. Shoot me a message in level 1 if you need more explanation, but I would run the turbo loop with Savala. I think that's super worthwhile. We don't know what Savala's going to do this week. So yeah, run that loop and you'll be sweet, man. And you obviously, if King Tonga comes out and scores 60, then you won't run it, but that feels very unlikely with how he's been scoring. So yeah, I'd run the turbo via sharp to Savala loophole if I was you. Let's give that a little fire. Then, yeah, you don't have to trade too hard though. You've got a bunch of trades for round 18 these upcoming weeks as well. Fantasy Triple H, hey Longy, big call this week. Thinking of moving Cleary out for Katoa. Sort of moving Cleary back in round 19 for Fogarty. I want Katoa, but I don't want to have all three. I'll move Fogarty this. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, if you're chasing ranks, you gotta fire some shots somewhere. So rank 300, so you're a bit further behind. It's more like 300 to 400 points behind first place instead. So for you, you're gonna have to take a few speculators if you want to, fire a shot at trying to get into that top 10 or even the number 1 spot. Now, let's see. Cleary and Kautonga out for Katoa and Duncan. Not the worst trades, but I guess my question here is why sell Cleary just to keep 300K in the bank? So there's other guys you can probably sell here. I'm just trying to think of who. Like, got Lawson there. Okay, so Katoa comes in, starts. Duncan, you got Kaloa, Couchman. Cool. Well, this case kind of makes sense. Keeping a bit of cash and then upgrading next week potentially. 9 trades left after those trades. $300K. I was trying to think of where else we can go. If we can use the money a bit better, right? So all that cash in the bank is a little wasteful. So you've got Starling there, right? You've got Starling and Cook, which, you know what I mean? I think that could be a little excessive, right? So Starling, you're not going to play Starling really at all. So what's Starling? He's about 600K. He's a pretty good scorer. I personally would be, if you got Cook there, you're not going to be able to play Starling in round 18. I would rather sell Starling instead of Cleary. But I think that leaves you a little short on cash. Yeah, it leaves you just a bit short on cash for these trades. So probably not possible there. These trades are okay. Cleary does miss 3 of the next 4. Just be ready for the fact that you're going to have to buy Cleary back, and make sure, if you're making these trades, make sure you have something planned next week, because you need to use that 300K very, very soon. So it might be upgrading Savala next week, or it might be making another move. If you're going to use the cash this week, you could possibly do something. You don't have to. You could make a move like Purdue to Aitken or one of those types of moves, but I just don't think you really need to there. So, yep, I'm going to say yes to pull the trigger, but make sure you use that 300K ASAP. If the math worked on selling Starling instead of Cleary, by the way, I would have recommended that, but it's just short, so not worth doing. All right, Hurring. Hey, mate. Hope you're doing well. Head-to-head coach here. Currently have a full team for this week, so my initial plan is not to trade. Depending on how many my matchup goes, I have one of the 3 trades in the bank. Just curious to see which one of these you rate the most. Telling my half pairing for the week. Okay. So I'm thinking for next week, I'm just thinking, because I'm reading through these, I reckon it's pretty sweet. So we should do something like, we'll do something like this, like a little, sheet. Like this. So we'd have like trades left and it'd be like 9, overall head to head. Overall, I'll share this with you guys later. Biggest problem, my wing fullback are weak, for example. Players targeted, Campbell, Drinkwater. Something like that. And then we can quickly just like glance through and sort of see the key points there. Anyway, I'll send something through for next week and we can sort of update how we attack these. So for you, Hurring, let's have a look at these trades. So we've got Cleary, Tamale out for Katoa Drinkwater. Look, that's using the cash, right? That's using the cash. So this is what I'm talking about here. You're using that cash very well because Katoa is not that far away from Cleary. He's a bit behind, but he plays more games coming up. So I don't mind that at all. And then Tamale for Drinkwater is just such a big upgrade. So you're using that money there. Tamale to Turbo straight up is not terrible either. Or Tarpanade to Drinkwater is a firm no from me. So it's either saving trades and just going the turbo trade or running the double and really upgrading your side. Now, you mentioned you're a head-to-head coach. So this hurts me to say because I love this trade. I really like this double trade. But as a head-to-head coach, you're going to want Cleary later. You're going to want Cleary later. And Turbo as a loopholer, as a head-to-head coach, bit of a pod. I'm leaning towards this. I think you need to save some trades. You're a head-to-head coach. I'm assuming, by the way, you're in the top 8 of your league. If you are, I'd be saving trades and running this. If you're behind, like if you're 10th, 11th, 12th, lower than that, then run these aggressive trades. But if you're confident you're going to make the top 8, then keep it simple, run the single trade, and just keep on rolling. So it depends on your ladder position there. But I'm probably leaning towards, if you're in a good position on your ladder, just go Tamale to Turbo and you're pretty sweet. All right, Hoodlum, 1, 2, 3. Hey, Longy, here's my trades for the week. Did what I could to get JC and Couchman in. This is all that makes sense to me right now. Do you suggest anything else instead? Not impressed on Tarpanade's minutes. Also want a solid half in Qatar. Means I'd have to trade out Payne Haas and Burton to get Couch, JC and Co. So Payne Haas and Burton out, getting Couch, JC and Qatar. I do like those trades though. Let me know what you think. Any other smart trades you prefer on my team. And saying that, I only care about my head-to-head. We're also playing buy rounds. Okay. So head-to-head coach, but you are playing buy rounds. So you want to stay respectable through this period. The cash out to Latu Fino I like, and you got Couchman and Campbell. These are scorching hot trades, by the way. This is way better than what was suggested before. I get, I'm sort of saying don't sell Tarpanay, but if you can sell Tarpanay and it helps you get to Campbell and Couchman, that's great. That's a great move. That leaves you with a very strong starting 13 as well. So yeah, Radley in there. Burton at the half spot. Do we have a half? Oh, King Tonga loops in. Okay. Yep, cool. So King Tonga is basically just your half this week. Purdue on the bench there in a loophole spot as well. Kinda. Got Lucas there too. Okay. Yeah, I would definitely take the vice captaincy off both Firma, but if you're not using Purdue this week, you could sell him as well. That could be an option. Just doesn't really help you that much. You got Drinkwater already. If you were to swap the trades around a bit here, let me just check the numbers. Could you do something like, so what's Purdue priced at? 533. Tarpanay is 735. Okay, so you'd be about 100K short of this trade. No, you couldn't really afford it. No, don't worry about it. All good. It wouldn't really work. Yeah, this trade is great. Run this triple. Just try and set as many loopholes as you can as well, because you've got a few guys on your bench that are decent scorers. That's all I'm thinking. Like, King Tonga, Lawson, Purdue all have the potential to score well. So just make sure you set your loopholes up nicely. Like move Lawson up your bench a bit, and give these guys a chance to potentially, if they pop off, be able to loop in to your starting side. You've got a really strong side there, man. So yeah, I'd run that. Couch Campbell, yep. You're set. You're set. Those are good trades. D. Lawrence, hey mate, thoughts on these trades and team this week? And I'll pick up the speed a bit because we're still on the 6 p.m. game. So let's see this. I've got Tarpanay and Yongi out for Duncan and Preston. Yeah, it's let's see how it affects your team, because it allows you to put Lawson on the bench. Okay. And you can run Preston, that starting side. Okay, so you got Tavanga, Duncan, Couch. Savala King Tonga is a brutal halves pairing. But the wing fullback and centers are amazing. Okay, you're in a good spot here. Look, I'm okay with these trades because it does beef you up. Like, you sort of need to make some kind of move here. And I mean, you could sell other guys as well. There are other players you could sell. You could move Ponga on instead and get someone different, but there just aren't that many riveting options for you. Like, you'd have to go with a center or a forward potentially at a bit of an awkward price point. You know, it sort of need to be around that 550K mark, which there aren't too many great options there. So yeah, I'm going to say yes to this. I think for your team, it makes sense. Run this trade. You're back at the 15K mark as well. So you want to be a bit more aggressive and sort of try and move up those ranks. You could toy with halves, but I think for next week, you might have better play instead. So going Ponga to Jerome Hughes next week or something in that category. You know, maybe going towards Luai, one of these types of players, could be a banging option for you next week. Even like Paddy to Latu Finu, you know, one of those sorts of trades. So you're just going to have to work on those halves over the next couple of weeks. And Dano here, hey Longy, my team after trades, bringing Preston, not sure on my second trade under 350K. Do you think Fino is a good choice? Any other issues you see with my team? Let's see. Oh, are you buying property in Canning Vale, mate? Tamale and Hosking out for Latu Fino and Preston. Good trades, yep. Two guys that you're not really trusting. Obviously, one's hurt, out for a gun and a cash out, so that always works. Bench is strong, bunch of good guys here. And then for your starting side, Harbner Jazz in there, but otherwise it's pretty stacked across the board. Purdue should go well this week. It's a good matchup. I'm going to say yes. Smash that trade. Puts you in a good spot for next week. You know, Latu, he should be fine. He'll be the long-term starter there. So, yeah, run this 100%. Couchman as vice captain is smart as well. Having Couchman as your vice captain, like locking him in, that's not a bad move at all. Then CFA, Kia Oralongi got the full 13 this week, but don't know if there's anywhere to improve scoring. Habner and Savala are my weakest spots, but not sure how to improve with only one trade. Looking to hold Haas and Cleary, hoping to keep rising the ranks. 20,000 up since the last 3 weeks. Big love. Thanks for the help. Up the wires. The wires are flying. Can't believe you guys smashed the Sharks like that last week. The Sharks fans are in shambles at the moment. Let's see this one. So you got Tamale and Hosking out for Preston and Lawson. Yeah, look, Lawson's dodgy, but he plays this week. Is a cash out. You get him or you go Latu Fino. I think Latu is probably a better cash out this week unless you need Lawson as a scorer. Then you got Tamale to Turbo. Both are good. Both are good, but I think the double is probably better because Hosking's pretty untrustworthy. So for you, you've got Kaipius Paul, a fellow KPP owner. Look, starting side looks really strong across the board there. Colhoun as well on the bench. You don't have to worry about him too much. You've got him in that loophole spot anyway, so you can see how he scores. And if he goes well, bring him in. I think Tamale to Turbo for you. I'm sort of leaning that way. Like, you bring Preston in. I just don't know if you need to. Like, you've got, you know, all these starters here are quite good. So I'm personally leaning just the Tamale to Turbo. Leaves you with 8 trades left. I think it's a good amount to have. And you don't have to go too hard. So Tamale to Turbo is what I'd recommend. But if you really want to get on Preston, don't let me stop you. I think this is a great pair of trades as well. I'm just sort of leaning more towards saving trades with the fact that you've got quite a strong team already. Crooks, hey, Longy, should I be doing Hosking to Duncan to bank some cash? 223K in the bank, missing a half, either center wing fullback. Yeah, okay. So round 18, a lot of people need wing fullbacks for round 18. So you should be okay. Burton and Tamale to Campbell and Drinkwater is absolutely fantastic. These are banging trades. Round 18, yep, okay. Bench, I mean, like Hosking's kind of sellable. Ponga is very sellable as well. But you don't have to rush that. No, this looks good. There are trades you could make. I just don't think you need to rush them out. Like, you've got 11 trades there. You can make 3 or 4 trades next week and you'll still be in a good position. So I think run this double trade this week. Leaves you with a very strong side. Like, there's really nothing I want to upgrade too much here. If you had Isaiah Katoa instead of Savala or something like that, that'd be great. But you don't need to tear your team apart to do it. So, yep, run the double trade, grab those wing fullbacks, get a bit of a plan together next week for attacking the halves position. I think it's a big one for you. Harley Davidson, hey Longy, this is the team before trades. A few ideas this week. First set of trades, my favorite. Any thoughts or ideas? So 15K rank, Reggie Rabbit here. Got solid look inside. Obviously that half spot with Cleary. Latrell Mitchell not playing as well at wing fullback. And on the bench, no green dots there. Bentley Hape is letting you down. Yeah. So you got Trell, Bentley Hape, and Tarpanay for Drinkwater, Iolu, and Tedesco. Drinky and Tedesco are good buys. Just Tarpanay and Trell out. Okay, it's not too bad. Hosking, Mitchell. Okay. Bring Donahue in this trade and Turbo. I don't like this as much. I think, Donahue in particular. Is he going to be starting lock long term? Like they've had some injuries, right? But I'm not confident he starts at lock long term. Or you can use this trade to target Katoa, but you're selling some pretty good options here. So again, you're kind of downgrading your team a little bit with this trade. So I don't love it either. And I say that because, Donahue's the weakest player here, whereas over here it's like Hosking maybe. Mitchell Tarpanay. Like this is a tough one. Or selling Cleary as well, getting Jazz. Nah. I think the first trades are pretty good here. First trades are good. It's a little sideways, but it upgrades your buy coverage massively. So I would run the first set of trades. I think they were your favorite you mentioned as well. That leaves you in a good spot because then you bring Teddy into that spot at the bottom there. You've got the flexibility with Garrick. You can run Drinkwater as well. You can bring someone up into the halves because that half spot is a bit light for you. You got Metcalf there, but Metcalf and Cleary, I guess. So yeah, that's what I'd run. The first set of trades, smash that out, and you should be sweet, man. Willie 1300. Now, Willie, you don't have the little badge there, so make sure you jump across to rank submissions. If you go post your team screenshot there and just join the league, you'll get a little badge next to your name as well that indicates your ranking. Now, hey, my man, have 40K in the bank pre-trades. Pictures are my team before, and then 2 trade ideas. I'm not sure who to pick up. After a wing fullback, keep for round 18, hence Drinkwater. Croker, even though he's average. Yeah, Croker's interesting. So let's see these trades here. So you got Savala and Stewart. 2 green dots. Selling 2 green dots out for Drinkwater and Croker. It's an upgrade. Or Savala and Riley Smith. Drinkwater and Croker. Sorry, Stewart and Riley Smith, I mean. Let's see the team. So you've got Stewart. You need a hooker. So really, it's just hooker. You need covered. Yeah, just hooker, right? Do you have a hooker on the bench? No. Okay, so that's why you're trying to get a hooker. I wouldn't. I don't love these trades. I don't think it's necessarily worth, moving the players in this way. Drinkwater is an upgrade, I guess, but like Riley Smith, I'm going to give him a shot. I'm sort of going to hope if he goes back to 80 minutes, he's a monster. Let's see what we should do here, because really it's just hooker, and hooker is a problem for most teams. How much cash in the bank did you have starting the week? So if I just do some math here, we're looking at about 1.06 mil, and this is okay. So you didn't really have a lot of cash in the bank at all. I was going to say maybe like a Ponga to Cook kind of deal, but you probably don't have enough cash for that move. You're in a tricky spot. You're in a very tricky spot. I'm struggling here with what to do for you. That hooker spot, I mean, you could just go. It's not really worth it, is it? You could bank some cash here. You could trade Ponga straight down to Iolu from the Roosters. The hooker there, he's a pretty talented guy. The minutes aren't super consistent, though. That could be an option you look at. You could take a run at these trades. I don't hate them completely. I'd probably be moving Stewart and Savala if you're going to pick 2 of them. The Croker move isn't the worst in the world. It's okay. So I'd say probably either Ponga to Iolu from the Roosters or the double trade you suggested here, Savala Stewart for Drinkwater Croker. You're in a tricky spot though. Like just targeting hooker, it's tough. If you can find a way to get to Damien Cook as well, I wouldn't be against that. So when you could do something like, Ponga. Actually, what if you sold Ponga instead of Savala? I would like that a lot better, actually. Sell Ponga instead of Savala. I think keep Savala a bit longer. I think Savala still has some scoring potential. See how he goes in the new role this week, and then run that double trade. So instead of Savala, you sell Ponga. Now let's see. Glyphix comes in. Tino and Tamale to Kolomatangi and Garrick. Yeah, these are good trades. So Tino is dealing with a sternum issue, which is pretty bad. He, he's playing Origin, all that sort of thing. Probably won't back up very effectively. So yeah, run those trades, man. Gets you to Kolomatangi. They're great trades. Expect that Connor Watson amount of minutes. Hopefully. I mean, I think it'll be more like 40 minutes. Dante mentions, we'll just say on his debut, played 40 minutes with ZDC on the bench. Only reason he plays 20 minutes against the Raiders was Connor Watson on the bench. Yeah. No, they've brought him in. They see him as a starter, I think, there. So I think there's a great chance that he gets, 40 odd minutes here, scores 30 odd points. Could get even more potentially as well, but he's in a great position. And then perhaps to Marky Mark or Drinkwater, or perhaps all Marky Mark to Drinkwater. I'd try to keep Pappenhausen. He's been in form lately. So I would say Mark Noni Tuase is the one to go. Is it okay to have 6 trades left, but be sorted for the rest of the buy rounds? That's about the minimum I would accept. Yeah. It's pretty low, but you should be okay. Teddy or Karaz or Drinky? I'm leaning towards Teddy if you have the cash, but Drinky if you can do a 1 trade and get there. So I would remove Karaz from the equation personally. Just a bit of risk that he goes into Origin if To'o gets hurt and that sort of thing. Hosking to Aitken to make 13 this week, or 2 sideways. So you're going Hosking to Aitken. Well, that's a great trade. 14 trades left. I'm going to say yes. Smash that trade. It's a great option, man. Hoping for 65 minutes, man. That would be great if he does. But I don't know if they're going to leave. They're going to leave ZDC on the bench for that long. Then it would be the simple thing to do. Katoa or Campbell. Katoa, I would say, unless you need wing fullback. Longy, you forgot to rate my team. I sent it at 5:59. Trelmit. I'll get to yours written, man. So I do them from the 6 p.m. slot, right? So once it gets to 6 p.m., that's sort of when I start those rates. But I'll send you a message later. So you'll be in the written reviews, man. Then if I had to choose Luai or Hughes, who should I choose? That's the toss-up I have next week too. So we're going to do a whole like segment in buy, hold, sell on the undervalued halves because Luai versus Hughes, and we'll talk about Latu Finu, a few of these other guys as well, maybe even Sam Walker. We'll discuss all of them in depth. So that's a call for next week. I would say Hughes is the safer option, but Luai is very, very interesting. He's a lot cheaper as well. Ben Hunt is a pod play. Unless he played hooker in big minutes, I don't really see it personally. All right, Pepper. Actually, let's just see how many more do we have for 6 p.m. Oh god, we got heaps. I'm gonna try and go really fast. All right. So here we go. That's 6:01. So because I do need to finish up at 7, we do another recording sesh. So Bergs gets in. We do last minute madness as well. So Pepper, I think I'm good for this week. Regards to my starting 13. Just need advice for loopers. Potentially, I loop Hubner for Radley, or I start Hubner and loop Radley for Wong, or kick out and maybe looping King Tonga for Sharp. We appreciate your thoughts. Okay, so firstly, looping Hubner for Radley is a good move. Radley for Wong doesn't. I don't know if that really works because they play at the same time. So I think you want to loop Hubner for Radley. Simple play there at the middle forward spot. That puts you in a good position. And then King Tonga plays in that first game. So if King Tonga goes well, you can kind of loop him for Sharp. But then, do you have anyone else? Yeah. I would probably run that second loophole with King Tonga for Sharp. But I would probably play Sharp over I'm trying to think of who I would drop out. It's pretty solid team across the board. Maybe kick out. Maybe kick out. Like, because then if you were taking Sharp out of your team, you could bring Sharp into the wing fullback spot, bring Garrick into center, move Lucas up into the back row, and take kick out. Like, he's probably the next guy I'd drop. All these wing fullback guys I'd keep. Your centers I'd keep, your halves I'd keep. I think Sharp is startable. So I think it's kick out that goes. So you're kind of looping King Tonga for kick out. But you'd need like 45 plus from King Tonga for that to be relevant. And it just really isn't happening recently. So yeah, that's how I'd do it. Double loophole, Hubner for Radley and King Tonga for kick out via dual positions. That's the benefit of King Tonga playing that first game of the round. You have so much flexibility. JT, Sup Longy, overall coach, and on 40K in ranks. Yep. So JT, remember, you do have access to the level 2 chat too. So I know I always see a team in there as well. But let's see the team here. So looking at a few trades this week. Any thoughts on any more trade ideas you give me? Slowly moving the ranks. Half. Old JC, White through their injuries. 8 trades. Okay. Let's see some of these moves. So we've got super widescreen gaming laptop, I'm guessing, man. The setup is clean. Burton, Docker Clay out for Drinkwater, Aioli. Yeah, this is a good pair of trades. I like those. Burton, Radley out for Havili, Drinkwater, Nap, trash. And then, yeah, I would run this one. It does leave you a little bit overmanned for this week. So I guess my question is, do you need to make this trade? You probably do, because you don't really have the hooker spot covered. Drinkwater comes in. Yeah, you don't have the wing fullback. He's got a lot of forwards, actually. He's got heaps of forwards. Yeah, I would run the simple trade here. So you just go, yeah, the Roosters hooker swap and the Burton Drinkwater swap. So run that swap, man, and you'll be in a great position. Sweet, let's keep rolling through. We got Caleb. I think I could upgrade my halves or wing fullback, selling White, Starling, or Tamale. Metro's just asking too. So I'll just send the two links there. So if you want to be in the team reviews, it's wap.com/casual athlete. If you want to just join the Discord, there's about 3,000 people in there now. You can join the Discord for free as well. So that's got most of the channels there. There's just a few private channels for the private group too. So Discord link is this one here, guys. I put it in the chat as well. I'll just leave that up there as well. So if anyone wants to jump on Discord, that's a spot. Now for Caleb's team here, I think I could upgrade my half wing fullback by selling White, Starling, or Tamale. I don't mind taking a risk with Galvin. Any suggestion? So look, Tamale to Galvin. Or if you don't mind taking the risk, then it could be good. Could be good. It's very, very risky. I mean, look, Galvin's one of those pods, right? I'm not against taking a gamble. Galvin is very cheap, so you potentially got some serious value there. Nafahu White should absolutely kill it this week, by the way. So just be ready that you might end up running a loophole for him. In fact, you could probably run a loophole to start with. Tamale for Galvin. Do you need to do Tamale for Galvin? I guess that's my question. So if I was you, Tamale for Galvin, I would do it based on loophole. So Savala plays on Saturday at 5:30 and Galvin plays on Sunday at 4 o'clock. So you're in a pretty good position here. What you should do with this Tamale to Galvin trade is keep it in your back pocket, right? And what you want to do is you want to take Savala out of your starting 13, swap him for Latu Fino, who's on a bye. Savala will sit in this emergency 5 spot. You see Savala's score on Saturday. If you make no trades, you'll get Savala's score. So that's the loophole, right? But if Savala scores poorly, which is a possibility, then you trade Tamale for Galvin and you put Galvin in the starting side. But if Savala goes well, you don't need to make the Galvin trade this week. You just take Savala's score. So run a simple loophole there. Shoot me a message in level 1 cheapy trade chat. Just shoot me a tag. If you want more explanation on that, happy to help. Just like to direct that. But that's a simple loophole that can guarantee you to get really good positions there. Magic Pug List, Alongi made up about 3.5K in ranks. So looking to capitalize the rise, 101K in the bank, 10 trades left, options, 1 fullback, 1 mid, full 13 before Loz Shaft to be making Burton 18th man. Yeah, look, Berto loves it. He's in that Origins arena now, so I mean, he might miss round 18 as well. Let's just see these trades quickly. So Tapane Pappenhausen for Curran and Campbell. No, you're trading two keepers for two keepers. Tapane Pappenhausen for Drinkwater Curran. Nah, I'm not a fan of Curran. Nah. I don't like the Curran buy. So Curran in the edge back row spot when he plays second row is awesome, but Curran is, prop like a 45 kind of guy normally. So I'm just gonna say like no to Curran. So what does that mean for you? Let's see. You need that middle forward spot filled and the wing fullback spot filled. You got Burton here, Paddy, who's kind of useless as well. Riley, maybe. I think Pappenhausen you want to keep. I think he's been good. So if I'm you, I'm probably going a different way here. And I'm recommending like Burton and Paddy to be the ones that you sell. Now, you're actually in a bit of luck here because you can keep Tarpanay and you can keep Pappenhausen. They're your week-to-week starters, right? And they play round 18 as well. And I would go Burton and Paddy out for Tallis Duncan and Tommy Turbo. That's a spicy trade. Tallis Duncan and Tommy Turbo. That's what I'd do if I was you. It means that you're moving Burton and Paddy out for two guys who can actually score week to week, which just increases your depth. And it means that, you've still got your big guns in your team that you can play with as well. So I'm personally leaning away from Curran. If you want to get Curran, you can, but Curran at prop is different to Curran in the edge back row spot. Gentle Giant PK is my teams. Firstly, Hines 80 pointer incoming. Man, I hope so. Thinking of selling Haas, Cleary, Toya, or Tarpanay for the trades. Let's see the trades. I'll look at the trades here first. So we got Tarpanay for Campbell. I don't mind it. I don't love it. Haas and Toya out for Campbell and Preston. See, if you're going to sell Haas, this is what you do, right? You're turning Haas and Toya into two top guns. So I'm okay with that. Cleary and Toya for Campbell and Preston as well, or Haas and Toya for Katoa and Pierce Paul. I think Campbell and Preston makes more sense than Katoa and Pierce Paul, just for positional and buy round coverage. So I guess the question now is, do you want to sell Cleary or Haas? Cleary is guaranteed to miss one more game than Haas. Haas takes more of a drop in scoring through this period. My question is going to be, are you going to play Haas next week? So Couchman has a bye, which means you're going to be a little light. Tarpanay there, though. I'm probably leaning more towards selling Cleary with the guaranteed buy. So Cleary doesn't play next week and the week after, right? So that's guaranteed, whereas Haas gives you one extra game of play. So I would personally lean towards the Cleary and Toya out for Campbell and Preston trade. I think that's the way to go. It's a big upgrade. You're getting a lot of value out of that money, so it's worth making that trade. And then Hefe, quick question. How do we get Purdue, get his dual position? So Purdue doesn't get it, unfortunately. I can't tell you why. I don't know why. The official line was that he didn't qualify with 3 games at the half position. My thought was that Hiroti got it for the exact same circumstances, and I haven't gotten an answer on why. So I'm a bit frustrated with that one too. But you win some, you lose some. Now Tapane, Pappenhausen, Stewart, Tamale out for Preston Tavanga. I'm not a Tavanga fan as a buyer. I think it's too late on Tavanga. I'd rather get Damien Cook over Tavanga if you're buying one of them. So I would swap that trade and get Damien Cook instead of Tavanga. Other than that, pretty good set of trades. Do you need Fletcher Hunt? I would probably replace, because Fletcher Hunt's not going to be in the team long term. I would replace Fletcher Hunt with Latu Fino. So basically, a couple of changes here. Replace Tavanga with Cook and replace Fletcher Hunt with Latu Fino. I'm not the biggest fan of selling Pappenhausen, but if you want to go to Tedesco, then I'm not going to stop you from doing that move. So easy swap there. Tavanga for Cook, Fletcher Hunt for Latu Fino. You got the cash for that. And then Ryan here. So he's got Bergs texting me. I'm going to hit last minute madness him in a sec. Ryan here. Hey, Longy. Hope you're well, brother. photo of the team's pre-trades. These are the trades I'm thinking about. First one gets me a full 13. So we got Smithies and Duncan there, or Riley Smith and Smithies for Duncan and Aiken. So the first one gets you a full 13 this week. The second one just leaves you with 12 for this week. I think you want to get the full 13. So it's worth doing the double trade to get to a full 13 players. With that in mind, it's probably going to be this double trade. Riley Smith and Morgan Smithies to Duncan and Aitken. Is there anyone else that we really want to sell here? Probably not. Yeah, probably not anyone else that we'd want to sell. So yeah, run the Riley Smith and Smithies to Duncan and Aitken. I think that's the play to make. All right, guys, that's me done and dusted for this one. I'm going to jump off and record with Bergs. I'll be on the call later too. So if you guys do want to sign up, it's wap.com/the casual athlete. If you're in the gun or the mid-ranger tier, this channel here, Fantasy Lounge, 8 p.m. Thursday, or it's Wednesday. I'll change it back to Wednesday. But that is the channel where we do our group call as well, guys. So we have a bunch of chat there. It's a great spot. It's like this session, but basically it's all back and forth. So we're on a group call, all talking fantasy, talking about our teams, that kind of thing. So if you do want to jump in there, if you're a cheapie and you want to upgrade to mid-ranger or guns, just shoot me a DM and I'll tell you how. And if you haven't signed up yet, you can get a free trial of mid-ranger as well. Now, Dante has just said, before I leave, I have a name for you. I want your thoughts. quickly, let's go. I need to hear it now. So I got to jump off. Do I take Purdue's points on Nakora? Try to run a loophole if you can, but I think Purdue's going to kill it. And then the last question here, Sam Verrills on the extended bench this week. I'm going to say pretty firm no. Doesn't play both major bye rounds. Just not the guy I'd go for. If he played round 15 and round 18, we could talk about it, but the injury concern is not ideal. And last one here, DeGroot and Cleary to drink and Gagai. Big pod there. If you love the pod, go for it, man. Anyway, cheers, guys. Good luck this week with your trades. We do have a show, by the way, as well, Thursday. So Thursday at 6:30 p.m. If you want to jump on for that, we do a live show at 6:30 till 7:30. Last week, we did the live reaction to Jazz Tavanga starting at prop. We do a bunch of predictions, just talk about all those last-minute things. We go through captains in more detail too. So talking all the captains all that. That's Thursday from 6:30 to 7:30. So jump on there. We'll answer some trade questions there too. Peace out, guys.